Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. You just heard about it on the intro. Now you're hearing it live here from Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. You can follow me on the social medias, whatever one is tickling your fancy. You can probably find me there at the Ray Flowers. You can find me here, as you're probably also well aware, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday here on the show. We're on every day, Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But Ray, what about Wednesdays? Why aren't you here? Well, I'm over with Jeff Mans. Here, though, Justin Frenchman will be here. So we're again, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, talking baseball, talking football, talking basketball, talking whatever it is that's kind of topical in the world of fantasy sports. Jeff's show is on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. That's from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Monday through Friday. I'm on with him on Wednesday. That's why I'm not here. I'm with him on Wednesdays. We've also got Jeff doing the morning show on Sundays on SiriusXM. That's 8 to 10 Pacific time. I can't figure out East Coast time at the moment. Then we've got Justin Fensterman and Russell Clay on at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Sunday nights. So here, there, everywhere. We've got live streams over at the site, all kinds of stuff going on at FG with SiriusXM, hopefully with you. Thanks for joining me today, as hopefully you will every day. Spread the word, tell a friend, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you've also taken advantage of the opportunity to sign up for a product or multiple products with us at FantasyGuru.com. Still doing baseball, hockey, basketball going to get going here pretty soon. Obviously knee deep in football, college, and professional. We've got horse racing, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, kind of got a little bit of this and that. I'm sure I'm leaving stuff out too. We got a lot of coverage. So go to FG, click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page, check everything out, find the package that's best for you. If there's a package there or there's something you want to see that you don't find there is a better way to put it, send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. Support@fantasyguru.com. We'll help you out. We'll get you rocking and rolling in 2025. Here's what we're doing today. It's a Tuesday, so we're going back to talk some baseball. We'll talk baseball here for about the next 25 or so minutes. After the baseball talk, we'll visit with Armando and Marsal, talk some football. Depending upon how much time I talk with baseball, I might review Monday Night Football. If not, we'll just do it with Armando. We'll also talk early waiver wires with him. He joins us every Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Mondays, I ride solo, review all the Sunday game action in the NFL by myself. Other shows, Tuesday through Friday, are hosted. First half hour, multiple sports. Second half hour, football. Those guests all come on at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays, Armando Marsal. Wednesdays, Rich Mileto. Thursdays, Tyler Beager. And Fridays, Russell Clay. All right, here we go. I'm just looking at the comments here in the chat room. By the way, you can leave comments and questions that we can address here on the show in 3 different places. Those places are Twitter X at Fantasy Guru site, Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, and on YouTube at YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. In those 3 places, you can watch the show live, watch it on demand whenever you want to. But in those 3 places, you can leave comments and ask questions right at the top if you'd like. As the pizza guy says here, first of all, go Phillies, but also as a Jamar Chase owner, I'd love for the Bengals to somehow acquire Jameis Winston. I mean, who knows? They might. And it sounds like, Burrow's going to miss 3 months. It puts him back in December, according to reports. At the same time, pizza guy, Browning was pretty effective when Burrow went down in 2023. He made those like 6 or 7 starts in a row. Looked competent last week in reserve or in relief, I should say, of Joe Burrow. So I probably not going to make that move. Jake Browning should be able to do okay. Morning all. Busy week ahead for week 3, according to Henry V. They're all busy weeks, Henry. But yes, week 3 is busy. John G talking some baseball. NLE's Chaps. Let's go Phillies. Yeah, there you go. So that's what you can do. You can leave comments and we'll address them throughout the show. All right, let's talk some baseball here to begin things. Geraldo Perdomo, I mean, this is at some point, it's like, what is going on? We're being honest here, like, what the hell is happening? Perdomo reached base 5 times yesterday, went 3 for 3, and he's top 15 in the majors in RBIs. And let's pull his numbers up. I was talking to Phil Backert about this yesterday, and it's like, okay. And I said this probably on the show. I know I said it. I don't remember if it was this show specifically. Geraldo Perdomo signed that contract extension, 4 years, $45 million. And I thought he would kind of be a super sub or maybe their second baseman. Well, then they, extended Ketel Marte. Okay. He's not going to play shortstop because they have Jordan Lawler, right? Well, let's put him at shortstop. Let's trade Eugenio Suarez and let's make Lawler a third baseman. Clearly, that was their plan. But Perdomo, this is outstanding work. And Perdomo, who had been looked at by myself in the industry, this is not just me, we're all wrong. Perdomo was looked at as an average offensive player. That's really what the expectation was, and I think that was completely fair. He has 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 7 runs, and 4 steals away from a 290, 20, 100, 130 season. That's Francisco Lindor stuff from Geraldo Perdomo. Just been fantastic. I don't know which of those numbers is most surprising to me. I think all of them. He has been a star player who was barely drafted, and he's been a superstar. He's clearly the shortstop of the present and the future that his performance has moved Lawler over to third base long term. We'll see if Lawler can find his footing here down the stretch. But Perdomo, just wanted to shout him out. Just absolutely phenomenal season. Kind of out of nowhere, but absolutely phenomenal. He is, you hear the term league-winning player all the time. That's a league-winning player. Nick Kurtz, league-winning player. Like, there's a few of them this year. Perdomo is one of them. Bryce Eldridge, not going to be a league winner, but he's going to hope to help the Giants down the stretch and maybe even help us out in the fantasy space. Bryce Eldridge, the Giants' #1 prospect, maybe top 10, top 15 in all of baseball, depending upon which source you look at. Eldridge, 6'7", 240 pounds. He's got 75, 80 power on that 20/80 grading scale. It's elite. It's just elite level power. Don't forget, he threw 97, 98 miles an hour as a pitcher, too. There was some discussion throughout the draft process before he was drafted by the Giants that he might be a two-way player. And who knows, maybe at some point he'll pitch, too, because of that. But the bottom line is the dude can blast baseballs. Now, the Giants have a need for this because of injuries and things they're dealing with. It wasn't expected that Eldridge would get called up, but here we are. He got called up. Went 0-for-3 with the strikeout in his major league debut last night. Did hit a 407-foot home fly ball that was caught because of the ballpark there. Would have been a home run in 23 different ballparks. So if he'd been playing in 23 other parks, he would have had a home run in his first major league game. He figures to play every day down the stretch for the Giants, or at least against right-handed pitching. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe against lefties, they bench him. They probably will, to be fair. Against right-handed pitching, he should be in the lineup every day. He's got holes in his game right now. He's a youngster. He's only 20 years old. The strikeouts can be an issue, making contact, all that kind of stuff. But when he hits the ball, he murders it. He's going to play against right-handed pitching. We'll see down the stretch if he can hit, 3 or 4 home runs and maybe be a thing in the fantasy space. Very deep leagues, you can add him. Shallower leagues, because of the uncertainty with the playing time and because of the swing and miss nature of his game, really tough to look at him for 2 weeks and think you're going to get a huge home run there. Haha, home run. Yordan Alvarez. We've gotten to the scenario with Mike Trout where we just know he's going to miss. Yordan Alvarez going to be that guy already? Now, Mike Trout had 9 years of not being that guy before this happened. Yordan Alvarez had 3, 2, 0. Like, he's always hurt. And, I will say this. I was talking with Phil Backert, who's our IDP guy over at fantasyguru.com, who also helps out in DFS baseball. He often does the cheat sheets. He's a producer on the Sirius XM show with Jeff. Phil and I were talking about this because he sent me the video when this happened last night of basically Yordan Alvarez was going to home plate, slipped on home plate, tweaked his ankle severely. At least that's my read. I'm not a doctor. That's my read of the video. Severely tweaked his ankle. And he's hurt yet again. He left the stadium in a walking boot. He had crutches. His season could be over. At least his regular season could be over. His whole season could be over. 2 things on this. One, for those people that haven't played baseball, home plate with cleats is dicey. I will say this. I'm kind of surprised more guys haven't gotten hurt at home plate because home plate, unlike the other bases, obviously is flat. It's smoother than the other bases. And when you're coming down on that with the cleat, a lot of times you get the zoop effect. We didn't get that. We got the effect. Hopefully you can see me because these sounds if you're just listening. By the way, you can find us over at fantasyguru.com if you click the Elite Plus tab in that toolbar at the top of the page, or just type in Fantasy Sports Daily wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find us there. So my hand gestures won't do anything. You'll just be hearing zoop and zip and all this stuff. But the bottom line is, I'm surprised more guys don't get hurt at home plate because of the nature of home plate. Now, in the case of Alvarez, we'll reassess this offseason. And these are a myriad of injuries. They are completely unrelated. This is not like he's got an ankle that he keeps hurting. I don't know, man. Like, I've said it over and over again. This guy's an MVP level performer. We saw it. He came back and went, what did he go, 13 for 27 right at the start of his return, right? He's back on the injury list. Here we go again. And, I have him in Dynasty League, so I'm obviously not doing anything there. But in redraft leagues, he's just so tough to get a handle. He's always hurt. Terrible timing, too, by the way. Okay, let me ask you the following question. Who's got a better OPS? Kyle Schwarber or Cal Raleigh, right? The two guys, 50 home runs. Okay, it's 943 for Kyle Schwarber, and I think it's 936 for Cal Raleigh. So Schwarber slightly ahead. But check this out. You know who has a better OPS than Cal Raleigh and who has the same OPS as Kyle Schwarber? See his name there on the screen? George Springer. George Springer has the same OPS as Kyle Schwarber and a better OPS than Cal Raleigh. Both those guys are top 5 MVP performers this year, right? George Springer, better than Raleigh, same as Schwarber. George Springer is now hitting 300 with a 394 on base percentage and a 550 slugging percentage. Kyle, this is the best OPS that we've seen from Springer since 2019. And frankly, look at these numbers. The last 4 years, 907, fantastic. 814, still good, a huge step down. 732 league average. Last year was 674. He was terrible last year. Terrible. Not even league average, just terrible. His WOBA was 298. He was terrible. This year, his OPS is 943. His WOBA was 402. He's one run away from scoring 100. He's one home run away from 30. He's going to go 30-15 this year with 100 runs scored. Oh, by the way, and he's batting 300, like I said. Wow. And, not that he was left for dead, but he's 35 years old. And this has been an out-of-nowhere season. He almost certainly is going to be overdrafted next year, unless we get a lot of the people looking at this objectively and saying, look, this guy's 36 years old to start next season. What do we see here? Well, we see a lot of improvement here, but really, what do we get? Exit velocity is the same as always. Barrel rate was up. Give him that. Hard hit rate was up a little bit, but not to the point where we're expecting a repeat of that. Bottom line is we'll reassess this through the offseason. Huge win if you drafted Springer, kind of just because. I don't have his ADP here. I'd have to look it up. It probably was 250, right? Like something like that. His OPS was 674 last year. Just phenomenal. Another quote unquote league winner. His teammate Anthony Santander is trying to make it back before the season is over. He's got that shoulder issue that he's been dealing with for a long period of time now. He's starting a minor league rehab assignment this week at AAA at Buffalo. He's going to get a couple of games under his belt and hope to be back maybe as early as Friday against the Royals. Maybe it's next week, but he is going to return before the end of the regular season. Does it matter? Hard to say it does. He's a name. He's got tremendous power. He's been tremendously consistent. His first season, though, with the Blue Jays, obviously a total nothing burger, total disaster, total miss. Can I recommend grabbing him when he's activated? I mean, I really can't. Maybe he rekindles and remembers who he is for the last 10 games of the season or what have you. But at this point, I just can't. Just want to bring it up because he's getting close. Now, Austin Martin had a 3-run double yesterday. Also had 4 RBIs in total. And Austin Martin is a relative nobody. And for most of you, when you talk about a player who is named Austin Martin, you may not even know Aston Martin's a great car. Austin Martin, he's part of the Twins. He came up as an infielder, but they moved him to the outfield, so he's only outfield eligible, I would think, in most leagues right now. He's got 1 home run and 116 at-bats. The 4 RBIs he had, remember this, before last night, he had 2 RBIs and 11 at bats. He's hitting 333 the last 2 weeks. He's got a 293 batting average. And beyond that, and this is why I was looking at him. We didn't talk about this on Monday because we're no longer doing my waiver wire stuff. But he was my second in line. I ended up getting Brandon Marsh, who I had first. Austin Martin was second in my line for Tout Wars because it's an on-base percentage league. And Austin Martin's got a 393 on-base percentage. 393. Now, his slugging percentage is 397. So, that's what we're just talking about. Martin is doing nothing in terms of run production. He's 1 home run. He's not got 2 home runs and 400 plate appearances for his career. 2 home runs. He's still on 15 bases, so he runs a little bit. But the real key right now is the walk. His walk rate is 14%. He's hitting, again, 290 with a 390 on base percentage, and he is locked in right now. Over the last couple of weeks, again, he's hitting 333 with an 888 OPS, which is pretty tough to do when you can't drive the baseball. So he is absolutely locked in right now. If you're looking to go to the waiver wire to make an addition, and again, all leagues are different and all that kind of stuff, but Austin Martin is the guy that you want to be adding at the moment. I see Angela make the comment, Dalen Lyle has been my out-of-nowhere relative nobody for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, and he's been fantastic. He's hit 21 for his last 50. Wow. Batting 420, 3 home runs, 13 runs scored in 13 games played. Wrote about him last week over at fantasyguru.com. This doesn't make any sense. This is out of nowhere. This is bananas. But he's another one of these guys that, again, we're looking at him not just the last week or two. His last 22 games, the last month of action for him, he's batting 380 with an 1100 OPS. Again, we can talk about the futility of this extending out in the offseason. For those of people pushing for titles, I mean, I bid on Lyle in a couple leagues. There you go. I mean, this is how we got to play the game now. We're looking at 2 weeks left in the season. Sal Stewart, another one of these guys. Sal Stewart was promoted, and then he was in the lineup and kind of out of the lineup. Well, he went 3 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs last night. That's now 4 home runs in 11 games for Stewart. And as we said at the time, I added him in FSGA League, I think. When we talked about him at the time, it's like, well, why call this guy up if you're not going to play him? They've already moved Marte to the outfield. So let's see what we do. Right now, he's played 8 games at first and 2 at third. So it's looking like next season he'll only be eligible at first base, which is a little, it'd be nice if it was third. But looks like he's only be eligible there. But that's, again, 4 home runs in his 11 games. His problem is he's taken 0, not 1, not 2, 0 walks in 11 games. 0 is not a good number. 22% K rate, so he's made contact. So we're in control there. So he's controlling the strike zone pretty well. But I would love to see a walk or 2 here. I will point out that his 95-mile-an-hour exit velocity, his 48% hard hit rate are very good numbers. He obviously is a hitting prospect that we've talked about here on the show, and he is showing very well. So he's another guy that at the moment could be one of those guys that's helping you out down the stretch. Let's talk some pitching. Jack Leiter surrendered 6 runs, 3 of them earned in the loss to the Astros last night. He had his own error that led to some of the unearned runs. So, good job, Jack. He's 9-9 with a 3.80 ERA. And, it's like, it's not that bad. It's not that good. You have to remember that at one point in time, Leiter was, he was an elite prospect as a right-handed pitcher. Coming into this season, he was probably 3rd, maybe 2nd amongst most prospect reports with the Rangers. So he had fallen off a little bit from the overall because last year was really messy. But here we are this season. And, a 3.80 ERA over 27 starts is pretty good work. A 1.29 whip, it's league average. Yeah. 27 starts and 140 innings. It's a little light, right? He's not averaging 5 in a start, basically right there. Okay. Basically a strikeout an inning, 134 and 139 innings. Okay, so he's been okay. The real issue for him is a lot of the time has been the walk. He's got an 11% walk rate. That just doesn't work long-term. He's going to struggle. He's not going to maintain these ratios long-term with a walk rate like that. If you look at his outings here of late, that last night, because of the unearned runs, even though he gave up 6, that was his 4th quality start in his last 5 outings, which is very attractive. His last 2 times out, he's only had 4 strikeouts and 4 strikeouts, but the 3 before that were 8, 7, and 10. The next time out, he faces the Marlins. That is not a matchup to run away from. So we're still starting Jack Leiter next time out. And again, 4 or 5 quality starts. really like to see, as always, these youngsters coming down the stretch that have success. Let's see here. Who's up next? Simeon Woods Richardson. 11 strikeouts, 6 scoreless innings against the Yankees. Come on. Sometimes things happen that make sense in sports, and sometimes they don't. There you go. 6 shutout innings. I don't know what's more improbable, 6 shutout innings against the Yankees or 11 strikeouts. Neither one. I mean, I don't know what the odds were because I didn't even bother looking at that yesterday because this is ridiculous. I mean, neither piece of that makes any sense. Just doesn't make any sense. Period. So there's that. It's going to face the Guardians next time out, and it's really hard not to go Simeon Woods Richardson next time out, given the fact that he just had that, dominant effort against a really impressive team like the Yankees, including Aaron Judge, who's been on absolute fire of late. Looking at Simeon Woods Richardson's performances here, last 3 times out, 3 runs, 0 runs, 7, 6, and 11 strikeouts. Those are big numbers for him. He's not a strikeout, an inning pitcher, really. He's getting pretty close on the season with his efforts here of late, but he's really not been that guy. The 2 outings before that, or the 3 outings before that, and here's the problem with Simeon Woods Richardson. He's given up 6 runs in 3 starts. Good work, including that dominant effort against the Yankees yesterday. The previous 3 starts, it was 11 runs and 11 innings, and he had 9 strikeouts and 9 walks. I can't trust this guy. It's not a bad matchup against the Guardians. I can't. I just can't. And another thing with him is they don't let him go through the lineup multiple times. Batters faced, right? So there's 9 in the lineup, right? So 18 for the whole lineup. Here's his batters faced. 22, 21, 21, 18, 23, 14, 21, 19, 19, 18. They just don't let him go deep into games. So I'm out. I'm out right now, even though the matchup against the Guardians isn't a scary one. Kyle Bradish faces the Yankees next. Tough matchup, even though Simeon Woods Richardson just dominated him. Tough matchup for Bradish. But 5 innings of 1-run baseball against the White Sox for Bradish, who in his return from Tommy John surgery has looked very star-like, much like he did prior to the injury to his elbow. He has an ERA of 2.5 and his whip is 109. And, if you look back here, we're now talking about, what is this? We're talking about 42 starts for Bradish. 42 starts with a whip of 105. You make 30 starts in the season anymore, right? 42 of them with a 105 whip and a 27% strikeout rate and a 7% walk rate. Like, these are really good numbers. And right now he looks, again, dialed in, which is really surprising given how he's basically just picked right up from where he left off. Only once in his 4 outings has he not gone 5 innings. The one time that he went 4 innings, he just got a pitch count up, so they pulled him. He only gave up 2 runs in the 4 innings. He's had 10 strikeouts and 9 strikeouts in 2 of the starts. That's 30 strikeouts in 22 innings, so massive number there. Did walk 4 guys against the White Sox yesterday. Okay, he only had 4 walks his first 3 starts, and as I noted, the walks have just not been something that has bothered him much of late. So hard to get excited about somebody against the Yankees, but everything we've seen says Kyle Bradish is a start against the Yankees. Spencer Strider takes on the Tigers the next time out. He took on the Nationals yesterday, who we've talked about. 7 innings, allowed 1 run. And, Strider, as we've discussed over and over again on the show, has obviously, without question, failed to match expectations. The whole team, the Braves, you can say that. Most of the guys haven't, right? He's up to 21 starts right now. He's 6-13 with a 4.6 ERA and a 1.36 whip. Like, Spencer Strider, legitimately, if you look at the totality of his work right now, hasn't been league average. Really surprising. If you look at his performances, again, we've talked about this, the up and down nature of it. He gave up, over a 3-start period, he gave up 20 runs in 11 2/3 innings. He pulled a Jesus Luzardo. His last 4 starts, 1 run, 3 runs, 2 runs, 1 run. He is 1 inning pitched away from having 4 consecutive quality starts. Even though that's the case, the numbers are, numbers are good. But let's see if I can get this to work properly. Here we go. Let's add in that one too. He's got 18 strikeouts in 25 innings. Terrible. He's got a 1.8 strikeout to walk ratio. Terrible. just not, even though he's getting outs right now, he's not dominating anybody. So it's not easy to face the Tigers. They're obviously got a bunch of big left-handed bashers on that team. It's in Detroit, which it's never easy to pitch on the road. If you look at his performance on the road this season, his ERA is 4.7. Has pitched a little bit better. His slugging percentage at home is over 500. Oof. It's only 4.10 on the road. Strider is in play for that start against the Tigers, but he's not a must start in that outing against the Tigers. And that's obviously something that no one would have expected to see when they drafted him. Jameson Taillon, the last guy to talk about here. Jameson Taillon is, talked about him in the Discord yesterday. And boy, I don't know where yesterday came from. 6 shutout innings in a revenge game against the Pirates. 2 hits, 2 walks, struck out 3. Okay. He's been in and out of the lineup, as we're well aware. He's missed time most recently. I think it was with a calf injury. But no, I think the effort yesterday, though the matchup was a good one, and he wasn't a bad start yesterday. 6 shutout innings, totally, out of the realm of logic. And here's another thing with Taillon. His last 7 starts, his high in strikeouts is 4. Just his strikeout to walk ratio is 1.1. His home run per 9 at that time is 1.9. So when you're not missing bats, you're allowing home runs, you're a dicey play. Now, interestingly enough, he's permitted in 5 consecutive outings 2 or fewer runs, so his run prevention has been very good. 2.08 ERA, though his xFIP in that time is 4.8. So even though his effort was great for him, I think it's very reasonable to say the next time out against the Reds on Sunday this week is kind of not a danger zone start, but not a start that you should feel good about. I'd be reluctant. The lack of missing bats, the proclivity to give up the home runs, and it's never fun to pitch. I think he's pitching in Cincinnati too. Is that right? Let me check that out real quick to verify that, to make sure I give proper advice before moving on to some football discussion with Armando and Marsal. It is in Cincinnati. That is correct. So we'll see. But I'd be very reluctant to start him in that outing. It is Tuesday. I don't even know what day it is. It's Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. On Tuesdays, we visit with Armando Marsal of fantasyguru.com. You can find him in the Discord continually over at fantasyguru.com answering questions. You can go to fantasyguru.com and click that Elite Plus tab in the toolbar at the top of the page. You can find this show, Fantasy Sports Daily. You can find Justin Fensterman's show, Jeff Mann's show, and Armando's show, Mind of Marsal. So you can find that there. You can often find Armando on the live stream on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can find him writing articles, doing all that stuff as well. And he's always with us here on Tuesdays at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's what time it is. Let's bring him in. Armando Marsal of fantasyguru.com. Armando, how you doing?
Ray, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. It's interesting. We had a Monday Night Football last night with 2 games, so that kept things interesting. And we're winding down baseball. You got hockey and basketball winding up. Like it's always an interesting time because in the fantasy space we're always kind of working ahead. So like the baseball season will be over. I'll take like 2 weeks off, and then I'm already doing baseball again. I'm sure you're looking at basketball and everything like that, but we're rocking and rolling with football. How you feeling through 2 weeks of the football season?
I'm feeling good. There's been some slow starts. I just this morning I recorded my latest episode of the Mind of Marsal podcast. Kind of talked a little bit about that. Like, there's been some slow starts, and that's okay, right? Like, I think we're at the point where we've seen this before, where we've seen some slow starts, and then players start kind of getting in the groove of things. But so far so good. I've gotten off to you and I faced off against each other this week, right?
Yeah, I didn't even look. I think you probably killed me.
I actually barely beat you.
Really?
Yeah, I barely. Well, I do have Justin Fields and Breece Hall on my roster, but yeah. So that didn't. But I barely got by. But yeah, it's been a fun 2 weeks. I think an eventful 2 weeks. Still not in the panic mode or anything like that. I'm still with your convictions. Stay strong, ladies and gentlemen. Stay strong.
Yeah. Convictions are a hard thing, Armando. I'm pulling my team this week. Baker Mayfield didn't do anything.
I know. I was very nervous going into
Charbonnet didn't do anything. Derrick Henry didn't do anything. It's a super flex league. Michael Penix didn't do anything. So yeah, That's why I'm saying I'm surprised it was close. I didn't even bother looking. I thought I got destroyed by 40 points this week. So
I had some bad performances myself.
And that's how it goes, right? And that's part of it here in fantasy football. It's why people love it, hate it, and back and forth throughout the season. We did have those 2 games on Monday Night Football, and I didn't get an opportunity to talk about them because I was doing baseball. So let's hit on this real quick before we talk some early waiver wire stuff with you. 2019, the Bucs defeated the Texans. Rachaad White was involved, but it's Bucky Irving's backfield. He's playing 70% of the snaps. He had 23 touches. Igbuka got in the end zone again. Evans had 5 catches for 56 yards. Anything stand out from the Tampa Bay side of things, or kind of what we were expecting?
I think it's what we're expecting here, right? I think Igbuka is going to continue to produce, so long as Godwin stays out. I think the question is what happens when he comes back. I think he's going to continue to be a fancy asset. They're just probably going to spread the wealth a little bit more there. But I think what you saw yesterday is what you're getting.
On the Texans side of things, we got some problems.
Yes.
They don't know what they're doing in the backfield. They healthy scratched Dameon Pierce. They brought Marks into the offense, but Ogunbowale is still playing all the third downs. Nick Chubb posted a decent fantasy effort because he got scored a touchdown with a couple minutes left in the game. Rushing attack, the passing attack, oof. We can talk about the offensive line, which is the thing. We can talk about Stroud, which is the thing here. But the bottom line is, this is going on. If we go back to last season, at least the second half of the year, we have an extended period of time where CJ Stroud is throwing the ball for 211 yards and 1.2 touchdowns a game. Like, it's just not happening. What are you seeing here? Even last night, Nico Collins has got 157 targets in 2 weeks. Hasn't really done anything. Scored a touchdown last night, but 3 catches.
Yeah, it goes down. You said it. Like when you said the offensive line, you saw me shaking my head. Like, this is where it begins, right? This is a unit that is not doing well. It's not protecting, and it's just causing issues because of the offensive line. It's causing issues here in the passing game. It's causing issues in the running game. I mean, they have Nick Chubb. I understand it's a very well-known name, but he's someone that has gone through a lot of injuries and is clearly not the same running back. They don't have Joe Mixon. They don't have their slot receiver right now, Christian Kirk. Like, there's a lot of issues here, right? There's a lot of issues. There's injuries. There's offensive line not playing well. I think eventually this offense will get it going. I think it's too talented for it not to get going. But I do think it could take a while, right? I do think it could be a while, and I think it could be some frustrating weeks like what we've seen. So I'm tempering expectation as far as Marks is concerned. He's someone that I think has become that number 2 back here. I think he's going to emerge as that. He has some good hands out of the backfield, and I wouldn't even be surprised if eventually he kind of works himself into pretty good committee here with someone like a Chubb until Mixon is back here. So I think he's a good addition right now in waivers. I don't think he's going to cost a lot. If you were paying attention, he did play, like you mentioned, Ogunbowale was that pass catching back for them. But Marks had 13 snaps. I think Dari had 10. So he outsnapped him by a little bit there. And I think that's here to stay. I think Marks is going to be that second, running back behind Chubb, and I think eventually work himself into a committee. So I like the idea of kind of adding him and stashing him. Not someone obviously you want to play by any means, but someone you're adding and stashing here.
Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. Join us every Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. It was the year of the rookie running back. It's been 2 weeks. Okay. But it was the year of the rookie running back. Ashton Genty, no. RJ Harvey, no. Omarion Hampton, no. Caleb Johnson, no. Jaden Blue, no. Trevion Henderson, no. Quinton Judkins, no. Cam Skattebo, no. No is the early return for 2 weeks. Let's talk about one of those guys that I mentioned, though, specifically Omarion Hampton. Chargers win the game last night, 20-9. We had all the uncertainty in the entire offseason about what's going on with Najee Harris after the firework accident. And is he going to play? Is he going to be out there? Well, what we know is that, you look at last night, both guys on the field, similar snap counts, similar touch counts. Woof. How concerned are you if you're an Omarion Hampton owner?
I think things will be fine here. I just think that they're really taking advantage of the talent and the weapons that they have, in the passing. They have a lot. They don't have superstars, but they have a lot of good playmakers here where they got Keenan Allen, obviously a veteran that's been around the league, has a history there. You have McConkey, who is playing well. Quentin Johnston, I mean, Oh boy!
At least he caught that touchdown, right? I was like, okay.
By the way, I thought of you. I thought of you and Rich. I don't know when I watched that because he did this and it literally landed. Like he could not, like he did not catch it with his hand. He did this, it landed. He did this. I thought of you guys. I started laughing. I laughed out loud like a crazy man here watching the game when that happened. But yes, and I think they're taking advantage. I think Greg Roman has done a good job of taking advantage of his weapons.
Yep.
I'm not concerned about Hampton. I said this on the podcast today. I'm not concerned. I think he's going to get going. I think that this is going to continue to be a team that's going to utilize their weapons. And I think they're going to put him in a better situation. I know there was a lot of chatter on Twitter that he should have punched it in. Like everyone knows they're running the football up the middle. It's not that easy, to do, right? I'll be honest. It's not that easy to do. So I'm just glad he's getting those opportunities, right? And I think eventually he'll produce higher numbers. He'll produce better numbers. I'm not worried. I actually think this is a good buy low opportunity if you're looking, to buy low on the running back. I think based on the performances we've seen from Genty, I like the idea of buying low because these are running backs that had a lot of hype going into the season. And after 2 weeks, there's a lot of people giving up on a lot of these players. And this is where I like to take advantage and say, okay, I'll take them for, maybe 75 cents on the dollar.
On the Raiders side of things, there was some excitement after last week, especially with Geno Smith. Not good last night with Geno Smith. The Raiders, I don't know what they're really doing with Genty. They're, here comes Zamir White taking snaps, and Laub is taking snaps in the 2-minute drill. And so Brock Bowers, why is Myers involved so much? We know that Bowers had a knee issue, but he didn't look to be overly impaired last night. What's kind of your takeaway with this Raiders offense? It wasn't good. So what's the takeaway?
They were not good. They were not good yesterday. No. You have 8 rush attempts for Genty in the first half. Why are you not getting more? Why are you not getting him more involved? Then you take about, what was it? I think it was 8 minutes on a drive, and then you just all of a sudden become super conservative, super bad play calling. I wasn't buying into Geno Smith's week 1 production.
Right.
Tua Tagovailoa did pretty good against New England's defense. I think maybe there's an issue in the New England defense side of things, and I do think they're talented. I'm just saying maybe there's an issue there right now. I'm not, if you're invested in Genty, he's going to be a volume-based guy. I think eventually he'll get it right. They invested the high draft guy. I heard the announcer saying, "Oh, they're going to conserve him." What are you going to conserve him for? He's a rookie. What are we conserving him for? Put him out there, let him go. Bowers, I think he'll be fine. And Myers is going to continue to be a PPR floor guy, I think, every week. But for those who are going out and getting Geno, there are other quarterbacks out there, that I prefer. This is why, I was asked a lot yesterday, "Oh, do I go out and get Geno?" I'm like, you can, but I would probably wait until the waiver wires, right? I feel like there might be better options than Geno Smith out there. And I think this is why he's still out there in a lot of waiver wires.
No. Anyway, that would have been my answer. Asked me. In fact, my nephew, if you're watching, I wish you would have listened to me because he didn't listen to me. He went and got Geno Smith, I think. Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. We got a lot going on at the quarterback position. Justin Fields has got a head issue. Jaden Daniels got the knee issue. Brock Purdy's got the foot issue. And then the big one is obviously Burrow, reports suggesting surgery in 3 months being out, so a return in December. So while we can talk about some of these other situations and grabbing guys off the waiver wire, there's one real quarterback this week that has staying power. I've seen a lot of questions about picking up Mac Jones after his 3 touchdown effort. I'm like, yeah, okay, but Brock Purdy could be back in week 4. He could play this week. We don't know for certain he's not even going to play this week. Jake Browning, what are your thoughts? Because he's going to be costly, especially for 2 quarterbacks, super flex leagues. Someone lost Burrow. These other guys are dealing with injuries. What do you think about Browning? And if you're in a super flex league, how aggressive on the waiver are you going to be for him?
So I think Browning is going to be a volume-based quarterback, right? This is a Bengals defense that I don't think it's very good. I think that, they're going to let up a lot of points, which means that this offense is going to have to pass a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of volatility with Browning. He threw multiple interceptions this past weekend. So I do think that there's going to be volatility, but I do think there's going to be passing volumes. This is a talented enough offense where he can throw you for 250, 280 yards, pair of touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's the kind of numbers you can expect at times from him. And then there's going to be big moments, and I think there's also going to be some really frustrating moments. So if you are going to take on someone like Browning, this is what you're getting. You're getting job security for now, because there's been a lot of rumors about them maybe potentially trading for a quarterback, this and that. Like, all the speculation that's out there right now. But for now, he is, I think, the safe bet to be that guy under center for the Bengals for the foreseeable future, and maybe the rest of the way until Burrow is back. And if you need a quarterback and you're in a super flex and there aren't many options, yes, you're going to have to be a very aggressive here. This is where I've been battling how aggressive I want to be, right? I think it's very situational. If it's a third quarterback, right, that you're looking for, I don't think you need to be that aggressive. If you're absolutely hurting at the position, let's say you've just had the odd luck and you had Burrow, you had Fields, and all right, yeah, you're going to have to be overly aggressive, unfortunately, here in this situation for a quarterback that's not that great, right? So it really is situational, Ray. I definitely think that, in a single quarterback league, I'm not making an aggressive move at him because I think there are going to be a lot of other options out there that I'm okay with getting at a cheaper price. But in Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues, I think and maybe this is not even aggressive enough, Ray, but like 30, 35%. And I think that's aggressive. Like, I really, truly think that's aggressive. But I've suggested 10, 15%. Maybe that's not as aggressive. Maybe that's not as urgent, but I think it really depends on your roster situation.
Russell Wilson threw for 507,000 yards and 17 touchdowns on the week. And Daniel Jones, I think, has 17 rushing touchdowns in 2 games. You have a preference there if you needed some depth? Again, I look at the start for both those guys. Great. Well, I guess not. Russell Wilson didn't play well in week 1, but okay, great. If I'm in a 1 quarterback league, I don't care. That's me. I know other people do care. Jones or Russell Wilson, you got a lean, a favorite there?
I prefer Jones. I feel better about him than Russell Wilson. I also think Russell Wilson, I think there's just so many guys behind him that if he struggles again, I just don't know how long that leash with him. For me, I think Jones is pretty safe, and he's run this offense pretty well, right? And I agree. I don't think that he's going to be a top 10 scorer each and every week, but I do think that he offers top 10, top 12 potential on the often. And I don't feel comfortable with him in a single quarterback league as much as you do. Like, I don't feel comfortable, but if I'm going to make a case for any of the 2 in a single quarterback league, it'll be Jones, not Russell Wilson.
Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. What about Mac Jones of the Niners? Obviously, I mentioned him and the fact that the window's small. It could be a week or 2. We don't know how much time. He's obviously going to be much less expensive than the other guys. Did perform admirably, and the numbers look very Brock Purdy-like for the Niners offense with him under center. Would you throw a 5% bid on Mac Jones if you needed help? If you had Jaden Daniels hurt, is he somebody that would interest you, or would you still go in a different direction?
Return to the Mac, Ray. Return to the Mac.
Yeah, right.
We got him, huh? I think he looked good, but let's not forget he played the Saints. So the thing about this is that this is a very good system. It's a very good coach, and he's done very well with quarterbacks throughout his career. So I like the idea. You see, like, instead of overbidding on someone like Browning, I like the idea of getting someone like Mac Jones a little bit cheaper. The attention's not really on them. It is a short-term solution. It's a Band-Aid, but it's a Band-Aid that you can get for maybe the next 3 weeks, and you can kind of figure out the situation, maybe make a trade, maybe do something better than, investing 40, 50% of your fab on Browning, who is a backup quarterback at the end of the day, right? So I like that idea. I think he looked okay. I think Mac Jones did a decent job. Obviously, he has Christian McCaffrey that is going to get a lot of, the things done after the catch for him. You got Jennings. It's a good supporting cast here for Mac Jones. So, I like the idea of going cheap on him if you need a quarterback, for this week or even in the next couple of weeks.
If you need to win, you want to have pieces of the Giants offense. We're going to talk about multiple. I'm kidding. We're talking about multiple pieces of the Giants offense here, though. Let's start out in the backfield. Cam Skattebo clearly seemed to take over the backfield last week from Tyrone Tracy. That's not a shock. I mean, Tyrone Tracy, in my mind, coming into the season, different skill sets. They're both going to have roles, but you can see Skattebo taking over at some point. Looks like it's happened pretty early. He's on the waiver wire in leagues. Does it matter? Does he interest you? Is it, of course, I'll throw 5-10% on this guy. What if I got number 1 waiver priority? What if I'm hearing someone in my league going to be spending 25%? Like, what do you do in that scenario?
Yeah, I like the idea. I'm always I'm always pro getting running backs off waivers when you see this. Like, I think that this is, even if this is a committee, I do think Skattebo is going to be that primary guy. I think he has that better fit. I think this is kind of like a little thunder and lightning situation here where Tracy can catch passes to the backfield. I think Skattebo can do the dirty work. I expect that. I kind of expected that to be the case here, like some form of committee between the two. So yeah, if I have the number one waiver priority, I would add Skattebo. I would have him as a depth piece, not necessarily a starter. And if you want to throw, I wouldn't go crazy on the fab here. I like to conserve my fab until there's that absolute guarantee guy that you really want to go and be aggressive. I don't see that out there right now. So I would say 3 to 6% if you want, 4 to 8 at most. Then that, I think it's, if you're trying to be a little bit aggressive there, 2 to 4 in some leagues. It really depends on your league and the depth of your league, right? It also depends on the players that are out there. But I think 4 to 8 would be the number that if you really, really, truly want to get them, I think you could get them for 4 to 8%, maybe in that closer to that 8% than anything else, right?
Marsal at fantasyguru.com. And I think that's good advice to give to people, because one of the issues we have early in the season, I was talking to somebody in Discord, and they're going to make a bid on Jake Browning because they lost Burrow. They're going to be down to like 23% of their budget. It's week 3. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's a long season. And then there's bye weeks where you have to make moves. And then there's going to be more injuries and all that. Throwing the $6 bid at somebody, fine, right? But you have to be careful, like you said, that you're not doing that every week, right? So it's 6, 6, 6, 6. We're halfway through the season, and you're looking at $30 left the rest of the way, 30% of your budget left the rest of the way. So, it's really important to judge, especially in these waiver priority leagues too, which I hate, because you pass on players that are usable because you're waiting for the big home run, which I would do the exact same thing. If Skattebo is sitting there, I'm not spending the number one waiver priority on him. I'm not doing that. People have to be cautious with their spending on the waiver wire, right? It's like it's early and it's new, and you want to get the guy, and it makes a lot of sense to get the guy and have him for 15 weeks. But you got to have people playing for your team in week 15 as well.
Well, yeah, this is why, like, I was asked a question yesterday on Discord, and it was a list of like about, I want to say 6 quarterbacks, all really like, it was Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, like Brownie, like Stafford, these guys, right? Yeah. And I said I would just let the waivers process and just add whoever's left of the bunch, right? Because for me, like, there's not a difference maker there, and even if one is ranked, 22 and the other one's ranked 20, it doesn't really matter to me. Right. But I said, I'm not going to talk you out of using your waiver, but that's my thought process, because you don't need to, spend funds on these kind of players because they're going to be there after. If you could get a free ad, or if you have to spend only $1 to add a player from waivers, that's kind of the route I take in these situations, right? Like, unless you're in an absolute need. But like you mentioned, like Justin Fields owners, he's in the concussion protocol. It's very unlikely, I think, given the way the NFL works, that he plays this week. That I will say. But you can wait until your waivers clear and pick up Tyrod Taylor if you want for a week. Pick up, Mac Jones, like we talked about.
Pick up Geno Smith after he's dropped.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're probably not going to get Browning because that's where everyone's going, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But you don't need Browning, right? And that's kind of how you have to look. Don't go chasing that hot commodity for that 1 week. We've gone through this. Like, Isaiah Likely was that last year. I think it was week 1 or week 2. I forget what it was. But you see that often, right? So don't do that. And for right now, there's not been one player yet. And we're going to talk about some receivers I like. Mm-hmm. And there's still not one player in this group that I think you should go out there and be like, all right, now let's throw everything we got on there. They're 20, 30, 40, 50%. Like, we haven't seen that yet.
Marsal of fantasyguru.com. Let's move to the wide receiver. And this, to me, I love this. Okay, it's a perfect example of craziness in the fantasy space. Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin did nothing last year. Troy Franklin did nothing in week 1. He has a huge week 2. Everyone wants Troy Franklin. And it's like, okay, no. Okay. Now, could you add Troy Franklin? Sure. Understand, this is one of those scenarios like the Packers. There are like 82 players, and there aren't even that many on a team. There are like 82 players that touch the football each week for the Broncos. Like, Sean Payton is a mad scientist. You could have gotten Troy Franklin for free at any point the last 9 NFL weeks that have been played. Now you're going to go spend 25% of your budget because he had 8 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. Don't do that. Maybe you're seeing it different than me, Armando, but that's how I see it. How do you?
I like Troy Franklin, but I agree with you where I'm not going to overspend on Troy Franklin. Like, this is not a situation. Like, this is not a situation where you go now and, again, spend 20-25% of your fab. This is a situation where you go and you place a value on the player, and this is what I like to do. I like to place a value on the player. That's what I bid. If I miss out on him, fine. But I'm not going to overpay to chase what I saw.
Not a week.
Do I think? Yeah, no, not absolutely not. Do I like what I've seen so far? Yeah, he's leading. He's their lead. He's their slot receiver now. He's lined up out of the slot 60.3%, 60.3% of his routes run. He's leading the team in targets. I don't think that's sustainable. He's second in receiving routes run. Sure. I still think they have lots of mouths to feed. Remember, Ingram got dinged up. Mm-hmm. All right. We haven't really seen Harvey get going. We have, Cortland Sutton starting off slow. We saw with Marvin Mims, he's that big playmaker. So like you said, they do tend to spread the ball around. Do I think Franklin has fantasy value? Absolutely. Do I think he's an asset? Yes. Do I view him as a nice depth piece? Absolutely. Is he someone that I want to go and bid 25-30% to start right now? No, I'm not going to go and plug in him and playing for someone that's struggling. No, I look at him as someone to have on my bench that if I need an emergency plug and play, I have him there because he has a solidified role right now. I don't think he's going to get this many targets on a week-to-week basis. So, but again, I do think he is an asset, but not someone you want to go overspend on.
Marsal at fantasyguru.com. We warned you repeatedly this offseason that you were spending too much on Ladd McConkey. Now, some of that warning was prior to the signing of Keenan Allen, which then made the warnings even more prescient because then we have another mouth to feed here. But through two games, Keenan Allen leads the team with 17 targets. McConkey's got 14, which is the same number as Quentin Johnston, who we talked about earlier. Quentin Johnston, your overall thoughts on him besides the catching thing? Are we bidding on him? Do you like him more than Franklin? As we were just talking about, like if you had to bid $7 on one guy and $6 on the other, who you going the extra buck on? Your thoughts on Quentin Johnston? Keenan Allen, again, leads the team in targets, catches, yards. He's got 2 touchdowns. Johnston's got 3 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey's got 0 scores.
Yeah, so if you're prioritizing any receiver from the ones we talk about here today, I would prioritize Johnston because he's the one that we've seen consistent back-to-back, weeks with 7 targets in each game. Mm-hmm. He has that big play ability like we saw yesterday. Like most of his production came from that 1 touchdown catch. It was a 60-yard catch, I think it was. He had 71 receiving yards. So most of that production came from that. But he's someone that if you go back to last year, like he kind of started picking things up, right? Like he flashed it last year and they're starting right where they left off last season. So I think that's here to stay. When you look at, Keenan Allen, he's someone that battled injuries last season, older receiver. So, there's that concern there. McConkey's someone that missed them. So Johnson could eventually have a clear path to every single opportunity here in the passing game. And I think his production, I don't expect him to score touchdowns each and every week, Ray. But as far as opportunities is concerned, I think that's here to stay. I don't think that's going anywhere. Is he going to have some massive drops and some, frustrating weeks because of drops? Yes. But you know what? As a fantasy manager, you're going to have to embrace that if you're investing in Johnston. But yeah, I would bid on him the highest of these receivers we're going to talk about here today.
Marsal, fantasyguru.com. Next up, Elic Ayomanor. Wow. I mean, that was a touchdown grab on that throw across the field from Ward. He made a great catch against his helmet prior to that to get him down there. He's, I assume it's we, because I assume you'll agree, seeing a young quarterback and a young receiver really blending together. This is very promising for the Titans offense moving forward. Ayomanor, like where are we at here? I mean, clearly he's the number 2 wideout for this team. They haven't done much through the air for 2 weeks, but it's not often that the number 2 wideout on a team is somebody that shouldn't be on somebody's roster.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about him today on the podcast. He's someone that towards the end of my drafting process in best ball, I was kind of targeting heavily in those best ball drafts. There were reports about him, potentially carving out a role. It's coming into fruition. He's second in the team on the team in targets with 13. He's third in the team in the receiving routes run. He's carved out a nice role here. And if you get a pass like that for the rookie, I think you're going to get a lot more opportunities in the end zone, Ray. I thought that was a phenomenal throw and catch there by the two. I saw that, and I think that's here to stay, man. And the good thing about him is I don't think you have to go too heavy, right? Like I don't think that touchdown catch by itself. There's so many other big performances of other players that I think that's kind of going overlooked there. And it's not a popular name, so I don't think you have to go a lot. So instead of investing all of your fab budget on Wan'Dale Robinson, you know, maybe a little cheaper on Ayomanor.
Oh, you mentioned him. Let's finish talking Giants, because like I said, Giants football is where you want to be invested for offense. Wan'Dale Robinson. I know Jeff Mans has taken some heat for this. I said the exact same thing. Jeff said, if you're starting Wan'Dale Robinson every week, you've lost. This is not. Jeff is right, okay? Wan'Dale Robinson caught 93 passes last season. 93 passes last year. He didn't have a single game of 75 yards. 0. In fact, his high last year was 71 yards. He just had 142. Okay. He's 4 feet tall. His average depth of target is usually like line of scrimmage. He's not a touchdown maker. He is clearly establishing himself as a weapon that Russell Wilson will utilize consistently. I think that's very similar to last year. He caught 93 passes. Questions about how long Russell Wilson is the quarterback. What does the offense look like when that changed? That's something I don't think enough people take into account. Like the Joe Flacco thing, right? It's like when they change Joe Flacco and they go to one of these other quarterbacks, things change. Where are we at with Wan'Dale Robinson? Is he, because for me, if he's on the waiver wire, hell no. Because someone's going to be bidding 20%. Hell no. I don't think that effort this weekend changed anything with him. He's going to catch his 80-plus passes, and he's not going to do much with them.
Listen, Ray, it's very simple. I'm going to give my 5% donation, right? I'm not going to get him, right? And that's okay, right? Because next week, when he gives you the same thing he did in week 1, 6 catches for 55 yards, and you're sitting there and you're like, what happened to that 28 fantasy point performance? Like, yeah, you never saw it because you never played him. It might not happen again, right? It might not happen again. I look at him as exactly that. Like, for me, in a PPR setting only, or half PPR short, but in the PPR, half PPR setting, if you're looking for a 10-point floor, like that's what you want. Yep. That is what you're going to, like, that's what you're investing in. Like, that's why, like you said, there's no way in hell that I'm going to do 20 to 25% on Robinson this week after that performance. Like that, you're buying at the absolute ceiling. And I've always said this, I do not like buying at ceiling price. I prefer buying at the floor price. And right now it's too expensive for me. He's a floor play. That's what he is, Ray. He's not a high upside guy. He's a floor play. I think we saw an outlier performance, and that's just what I think we saw on Sunday.
So the bottom line is, don't spend any money on anybody this week, folks. No, just not.
No, not all of your budget. Just be frugal. Be frugal with your money.
And don't go to the Giants for your offense unless it's league neighbors. Armando Marsal of fantasyguru.com. You going to be on the live stream tonight, Armando, at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time?
I will be. I will be on with Russell and Tyler. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're here with us every Tuesday. And you mentioned Tuesday. You're dropping the podcast. Are you still doing 2 weeks?
I just dropped it right before hopping on. I dropped it. I dropped the links and stuff like that. So that went on. Bob Harris and I, we recapped the week 2. We just talked just football takeaways, things like that, and an early look at waivers. And then on Friday, another one will drop. Chris Rose and I will be breaking down the DFS slate and, of course, all of the content. This week I am on the running back coach, so I'll be doing the running back write-up for DFS, covering our guy Ted Schuster there. He's knee deep in the MLB stuff. So I told him, hey, you know what? I got your back, buddy. I got your back. So yeah.
He loves doing that too. He never complains about doing
it. I know. He loves it.
Goddamn baseball. I get the IM.
Never ending. It is a long season. It is a very long season.
It is a long year. Absolutely. Yeah, so. Armando Marsal at fantasyguru.com. It's Armando_Marsal on Twitter X. You can find his podcast. You can find this show too. Go to fantasyguru.com. Click that Elite Plus tab on that toolbar at the top of the page there. You can find this show that we're on right now. You can find his show that he's mentioned as well. And again, you can find him here every Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Armando, thanks for your time today. We appreciate it. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good time on the show tonight. Good luck with all the work this week, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much for having me on. Good luck to everyone this week.
You got it. He's Armando Marsal. I'm here at Ray Flowers. Tomorrow the show will be here at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Justin Fensterman and Rich Miletto, the Fantasy Bosco, will be on. I'll be with Jeff Mans from 2 to 5 on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, returning to the show on Thursday. For Armando, I'm Ray. This has been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com.